Hi, good afternoon, and thank you for joining this seminar. This seminar is all about Black Heritage Walks Network, which is a project of United by Birmingham 2022. So I'm going to start by just sharing some slides. I do have other team members, but they're unable to make it today. So I'll just share some slides. There we go. Oh, sorry. So, about Black Heritage Walks. We're a team of three. So there's Gary, who runs Black Heritage and Recognised Black Culture and Heritage, which is an organisation across Birmingham that originally started looking at the post-war achievements of the Black community in the First World War and the Second World War. Then there's Marcia. So Marcia is the one on the far right. So she is a supplementary school teacher and also a normal teacher. So she runs a black school in the African Caribbean Millennium Centre, and she's been doing that for quite a while. And she's been teaching young people about Black history for quite a long time and has lots of experience. And then there's myself, Dawn. So I was a heritage officer at Legacy WM when we first started putting our group together. Now, how it came together, there's never been a Black walk in the Birmingham area. And it's one of those strange things because most areas have one. So if you go to London, if you go to Bristol, if you go to Manchester, every city has a Black walk, but Birmingham didn't have one. And there was a need to put one together, but I knew that key people were doing things already or had done some of the work already, so which is why I contacted Gary and contacted Marcia and others who didn't want to get involved. And we formed our partnership together and put together Black Heritage Walks Network. Now, our work is also supported by Dr. Kahindi Andrews, who is a professor of Black Studies at Birmingham City University. So just to kind of go into it, putting a Black walk together is not as easy as it seems. So to start off with, we probably took about 2 years putting together the first walk. We have many walks, which I'm going to go into, but it took us 2 years to put it together. Basically, that included a range of different things. We did a literature review to start off with. We also did some desktop research, so we looked at archives and things online. Then we actually physically went to Birmingham Libraries and Archives collection to do some further research and and to explore many different archives across the city. We also looked at archives and work that had been done by Birmingham's Museums Trust. We spoke to people. So we spoke to, particular people who had media archives like Stanley Burke, Pogus Caesar, Wassifa Foundation, who collected a beautiful collection around the Jamaican living room, front room. And we also spoke to local people, prominent people who were there when the early settlers from the Caribbean came to Birmingham, and we were lucky to catch their stories. We also went to look at other Black walks. So I mentioned that most cities have one. So we wanted to know what does a good Black walk look like, and how can we improve it? What should we be doing, and what shouldn't we be doing? So we went to Liverpool, we went to Bristol, we went to Leeds and London, and took part in all of the walks. Spoke to those who put the walks together, and really took the best from all of these walks to make ours an engaging project. In addition, even though we all have various academic and professional expertise in heritage work, we did undertake some heritage trails volunteering training just to make sure that we know how to put together a heritage walk and also lead one effectively. So you're probably thinking, why heritage walk? Why put all that effort in, all that research, archives and everything, just for a walk. And to start off with, I mean, heritage trails in general, this is not just a black walk. They offer that opportunity for people to walk the area and walk the experience of history and really feel it and put their personal observations towards the, what they've learnt. And also it offers that opportunity to have a different context from the original context of that site that you're going to visit. So, it really contextualizes your local area and where you are. And it makes you feel connected to that local area as well. And I mean, we all know it's going to be educational and it's cultural, but obviously what we found when we delivered the walks is the whole family can take part. So it's intergenerational. You can take grandma, you can take granddad, mum and dad can go and the kids enjoy it. So, you don't have to find a separate activity that all of the family can enjoy. You can take everybody and everybody can take part. And in particular, older people like to share their experiences of what you call back in the day with the younger people, and it helps them to connect with the family and have and generate different discussions that you wouldn't normally have around the table. Obviously, it keeps you physically active. So, in this day and age where, especially like we've been in lockdown, it's nice to have the opportunity to go out and walk. But, walks can be boring if you're on your own and you haven't got, a headphone or some music or something like that. So it's nice to have that opportunity to go out, get active, but also be educated at the same time. But in particular, like I said, through my experience as a heritage officer, there's been lots of different Black projects, Black heritage projects, Black initiatives. Over the years, I've seen them all come and go. And I say come and go because once that project is finished, there's nobody to take on that legacy. There's nobody, to kind of keep disseminating those messages, because they're often, short funded pieces of work that just stop once the project has finished. So the good thing about a walk is that you can obviously, it's not just for Black History Month, it's all year round. I'm just going to just stop there because I can see that there's some questions coming. Angela, are you there? Can you read the questions for me?
Yeah, so this one says, this seems like a great concept. Are you taking advantage of the fact the Commonwealth Games are in town, as the Black community has been in Birmingham for over 70 plus years? What are your plans?
Well, that's good because that's what this whole seminar is all about. So I will reveal the answer to that question as we get along. If you don't mind, I'll leave that to the end because that's that where we're heading towards in this actual presentation. Is there any other comments?
No, that's just it.
Right, brilliant. So I will get to that. So yeah, just hang on and we'll get there. All right then, so let me just talk about the walks first. I've actually put 4 walks on here. I think in total we probably have about 9 walks, but these are the main ones that we deliver at present. So the first one we started was in Handsworth, because that's where the predominantly the Caribbean people settled here in the Birmingham area. So we wanted to put a migration trail together that kind of celebrated the Black heritage of those communities. And we're not talking about just the post-war, when they came on a Windrush boat. Our heritage here in the UK goes back, as far as 7,500 BC. So in the slide that I showed before, there was a picture of the Cheddarman. So he's called the Cheddarman. He's like the remains of one of the first men that they found in the UK, which was found in Cheddar Gorge, and as I said, which is in Somerset. And it's only recently that they've looked at those remains and they've found that the Cheddarman was actually somebody who was definitely of dark brown, maybe Black heritage. So much so that they're through the forensics, they're able to unpick the fact that the Cheddarman was lactose intolerant. Can you believe this? So he's lactose intolerant, and that is a common trait for the Black community. So that even goes to show that he must have, had some kind of African heritage, or probably African or Asian heritage. So, so we can go back as far as then, that's BC, that's before Christ, here in the UK, and we've put a lot of research together to to put that walk together, and we call it the Madiba Walk. And the reason why it's called Madiba, not to give away all the walk, but Nelson Mandela came to Handsworth and came to visit Handsworth, and it was a major event. He came at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I've been told, I wasn't there, I lived in Leicester at the time, that when he came, the whole of Handsworth was locked down. It's like thousands of people came out to see Nelson Mandela. And his African name, we call him Nelson Mandela, but that's not his name. His name is Madiba. So that's why we called it the Madiba Walk. But that's the Handsworth Heritage Walk. And then we went on to develop the Ida B. Wells Walk, which is quite prominent actually at the moment in terms of the current situation politically, because Ida B. Wells was a remarkable African-American woman who actually came to Britain to campaign against what you call domestic terrorism, which is it was at the time, which is lynching. So this is white domestic terrorism. So at the time, white people were lynching Black people within America. It wasn't something that was done here in Britain. It was particularly around America. And she was an activist. She was a feminist. She was she was in education. She was a teacher, and she came to Birmingham to find help. And here in Birmingham is where she was able to strengthen her campaign. She worked with white suffragette women here in the Birmingham area, and then went back to America, strengthened in terms of her political resolve, her own kind of confidence, and then went on to kind of lead their campaign in America against lynching. So, that we can be proud of that here in Birmingham, that it was our community that supported Ida B. Wells and also supported, obviously, the fate of many Black people in America. Then we also have the Hockley Jewelry Quarter tour, and that it looks at particularly not the very nice aspects of Birmingham. So we're looking at, the relationship between Birmingham and the slave trade. So we can't get away from the fact that, the Industrial Revolution and, its links to Birmingham had a real impact on slavery. And a lot of people in Birmingham profited from the slave trade, and in particular, the chains that were used to kind of, chain slaves on the boats came from Birmingham. In fact, it came from Hockley. So those are the things that we talk about on that particular tour. And then this is a really nice story. So we've got the 688 US Battalion, which is a Black Women's Army Corps. So if you can imagine, right, in the Second World War, Black women, were not even considered in terms of like supporting, the Second World War. Never mind, Black women in America. And this battalion was the first ever Black battalion that was put together, and they were actually posted here in Birmingham. And what their job was to do was to sort out all the posts that went out to soldiers. So there was a mound of posts that was like kind of mounting up, and there was nobody to sort it out. And they had a remarkable job of having to sort out all these posts. And they came up with this unique 24-hour system where they'd have this shift system that some would be sleeping, some would be sorting. So they worked 24 hours in order to sort out this post in about 3 months, and made sure that every single soldier got their mail. So that's like a remarkable story. So as well as everything else, we don't just do walks. So I'm just going to go through a few key highlights. I think it stands to reason that we always contribute to Black History Month, and when it was the Windrush 70th anniversary, which is 2 years ago, we ran a whole program of stuff for the Windrush. Angela, I can see another question has come through. Or is there a question?
Yeah, so it says there are lots of heritage walks in Birmingham, but most people don't realize the connection, the black connection to Birmingham. Are you teaching this in schools?
I am. So yeah, I'll talk about that in a minute. Don't worry. So yeah, I'm going through the highlights. So we've done a couple of blue plaque events. In particular, the IDB I spoke about, there was a blue plaque event for her. There's a picture of a stamp there with a really smart looking, handsome black soldier who's called Walter Tull. So last year, the Royal Mail released this stamp, and it was in celebration of 100 years since World War One. But also they wanted to feature Walter Tull, who was first started off as a footballer, but then went to serve in the First World War. And I've been to lots of countries. I've been to America, I've been to the Caribbean, and you get used to seeing Black people on stamps in America and the Caribbean. It's not something you see very often here in the UK. So it was very nice to have that. So what we did a whole project around Walter Tull that we delivered to many different schools, many different out of school settings as well. It was a really nice project to get involved with. And then you can see a picture of me holding a plaque. That's a plaque for the 6888. And we were involved in bringing Americans over last year, this is American officials, to have an official launch of the 6888 walk, plus a film that goes with it. And it was an amazing occasion. We had some very important officials come over, and we were part of putting that all together. So before I go on, so we do a lot of heritage education programs, which I will talk about. And we've gone into schools and we've gone into out-of-school settings to deliver a lot of programs. And we've been really successful in delivering a heritage education program in schools within Handsworth, especially secondary schools. So we've worked with Holyhead School, and we delivered 2 heritage education programs in Holyhead School. And then at the turn of 2020, we had huge plans. I was embarking on a project which we call the Pillars of the Commonwealth with UCAM Birmingham as part of This Is My City. And that was looking at, working with 7 schools across Birmingham to deliver a heritage education programme. I was also working on a contract with the libraries. So we was delivering heritage education programmes. We did a couple in Handsworth Library, and then we had plans to deliver programmes in all the libraries across Birmingham. And we also had a contract to run a heritage education programme in an out-of-school setting in Erdington in partnership with Sports Elite. And we had big plans for 2020. We also had to improve our organisational structure. So we became a CIC just at the beginning of 2020, because we had to do that in order to contract with the schools that we were working with. It was a requirement that we had a proper legal structure. So we went through all that process to become a formal CIC, new bank account, new everything. At the turn of this year, we had everything in place to be a really successful organisation. And then obviously the lockdown came, and all of that went to aside. But what we have been doing is we've got our lockdown, and we're putting our digital strategy, because we don't want to be negative. We don't want to say it's some COVID strategy or it's a lockdown strategy. So what it has enabled us to do is become more digitally savvy. So in becoming more digitally savvy, we are improving our brand and our website and our YouTube channel. And I don't know if anybody can see my t-shirt or they've seen the logo. What's really, really sad, because I'm quite precious about our brand at the moment, because the wording that we use for Black Heritage Walks Network is actually the same font that was used in the Black Panther film. So there's a Marvel film called Black Panther, which features an all-black cast, and it uses a particular font. And we picked up on that font and we used that for our logo, and it's worked for us. It's been really, really successful. But when you enter a digital world, there's certain standards that you have to use. So we're going to be rebranding, and we're not going to be using that font anymore. But I feel even more precious about it because the lead actor, Chadwick Boseman, who played T'Challa in Black Panther, sadly died yesterday. So I see it as a sign that we should keep this Black Panther font. But so I'm torn with this decision. But we are going ahead with a rebrand anyway. And as part of that rebrand, as I said, we're going to be improving our direct customer engagement. So we're going to do that in the form of a mobile app to start off with, so that people can engage with us more easily, through this mobile app. And we are looking at having online or virtual reality walks. So, really, we're looking at embarking on filming some of the things we do, so we can put it into a virtual reality type of platform. So we're working on that as well. In terms of our heritage education programme, we're converting it all onto a learner management system. And we're doing that through, as I said, filming, digital content, but using a lot of animation as well, which is groundbreaking for us, because we can use that at every key stage level, like Key Stage 1, Key Stage 2, and Key Stage 3. And so that's the reason why we've gone down the animation route for the work that we do. And we think that's quite edgy, and it enables us to use black images quite easily. So I've got another question in the chat. What does that say, Angela?
Says, really interesting concept, and glad to hear you have a digital strategy. What do you have planned in terms of digital Black Heritage Walk? The Black Panther was a legend and definitely could be part of your legacy and his. Would be good to see a trailer of what Birmingham Black Walks are.
We are working on the trailer, so that will be coming soon. And again, that trailer, we're doing it as an animation because it's easier for us to do it that way. You're right about the Black Panther, and we obviously it's happened so soon. We haven't had a chance to regroup and talk about how we're going to take this forward. But just to let you know, it may sound silly. When we run our out of school program, so we do out of school settings, which we call the Black Saturday School. And so Black Saturday schools are very important in terms of education for Black young people, because it gives them that freedom, that space to be themselves, but also to learn. And within our heritage education programs in out of school settings, what we do is we have a little bit of when we group children, we group them according to, their key stage ability. So, like I said, Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3. But we don't call them Key Stage 2 and Key Stage 3 because we don't like it to be like school. Out of school settings are really about being creative. And so we've always used the Black Panther. In the Black Panther film, it has many different communities. So you've got T'Challa's community, and there's all different communities. And we've used those communities, as kind of like, when you have your old school house, like your group. So people become part of a group, which is a community that's within the Black Panther film. So we will continue doing that. And when you get to the end of Key Stage 2, so most of our students probably stop coming to our after school activities between 16, 17, but we ask them to kind of volunteer with us. And when they volunteer, they become part of the T'Challa tribe. So they've reached the top. So that's what they're aiming towards in terms of their development. So yeah, just to carry on with that, with our heritage education program, we want to move to do more live seminars, but in particular podcasts. Podcasts are being very popular now because people can put them on whilst they're driving, and listen to some heritage and some information, and learn while they're driving. So even if you're not walking while you're driving, you can be on a Black Heritage Walk. But then moving forward with our digital strategy for this Black History Month, we are working on a brand new pilot, which is Eat, Walk and Learn. And we're doing this in partnership with Too Much Passion CIC. And it is what it says on the tin. Basically, what people do is learn about a particular subject. So in this one, we're doing the Jamaica edition. So they'll be learning about Jamaica from many different perspectives, obviously from the heritage perspective, but they'll be also looking at Jamaican food. And then when they go on the walk, they look at any links in that walk that link back to Jamaica. So it's a very new project. It's going to be starting this Black History Month in October, and we'll be releasing that programme shortly. We're delivering it at a brand new project, which is called The Yard, believe it or not, which is in Ladywood in Portloop. We're the first project to deliver from that particular venue. So we're very, very excited about this project. So, please look at our website afterwards when we release it so that you can find out more information about that particular pilot. And also when we do events, we want to be able to do more digital events, like, and be really kind of innovative, like doing light shows, more online streaming and stuff like that. So we've got a lot of things planned.
Okay, there's another question, and it says, the power and success and evolution of the Black community in Birmingham is something that can be used now in the Hype of Black Lives Matter campaign. Have you thought about how to add the successful Black heroes of Birmingham, either in sport, business, and music, that are Black Birmingham champions for not just the region, but the world? So how about a strong campaign in terms of how Black heritage in Birmingham has influenced the rest of the world, either through music, sports, or food?
So whoever's put that question up has never been on one of our walks, because they know that we already feature all of that stuff in our walks. When we do our walks, we feature people from Birmingham, we feature historical facts, we feature a range of different influences. So I suggest you come on our walk and then you'll find out. But in general, on a serious note, for Birmingham, we have our own version of George Floyd, which is Mikey Powell. I don't know if anybody's aware of Mikey Powell. So Mikey Powell was a gentleman who was suffering a mental health episode, and he lived with his mother. His mum was very kind of concerned because he was having an episode, and to her, she was brought up that you just contact the police when you need help. So she contacted the police and said she was having a bit of problems coping with her son. And the police came to the house. They thought he had a gun, and they handled him quite roughly. And within a few hours, he was pronounced dead from what was called positional asphyxiation, which is exactly the same thing as what happened to George Floyd in that I can't breathe kind of scenario. And this happened in 2003 in Wheeler Street in Lozells. And the reason why I'm telling you this story is because we have led a walk around Mikey Powell. So that's one of the walks we do. I haven't mentioned it in this particular presentation, but we commemorate his death, which is in September every year. So we do that through a walk. And in particular, we also work with Legacy WM on another walk, which is called Roots, Rights and Resistance. And that looks at the kind of history of protests within Birmingham. It's not just the Black protest. We look at suffragette protests and very Chartist in terms of working class, the whole thing, and that is rich with issues that are connected to Black Lives Matter. So I suggest you go on that walk as well. So that's called Roots, Rights and Resistance. So I'm going to just move on, because this whole presentation is about the future. It's about 2022. It is about the Commonwealth, and I am getting there. So we are lucky that we, as an organisation, we have been approved by what's called the United by Birmingham 2022 project. So this is the community legacy for the Commonwealth 2022. And that legacy has asked for community groups, that fall into a certain criteria to come forward and be the ambassadors for Birmingham during 2022. And so that these are organisations that, these are the criteria that either bring people together, improve health and well-being, help the region to grow and succeed, organisations that can be a catalyst for change, but also that puts Birmingham on the map. So the fact that they've taken us on as a project means that the committee of 2022 thinks that we fulfil that criteria in terms of our project. So we're quite proud of that, and we share that with This Is My City, which is a United by Birmingham project as well as other projects across the city. And this is what's going to be our offer for 2022. So we've been working quite hard on this, especially through this lockdown period, so that we can absolutely get it right for 2022, because we recognise that this is an opportunity for tourism. We're going to have lots of visitors to Birmingham who come from Commonwealth countries. And when they come to Birmingham, we want them to see a proper cultural offer, not what's being presented at the moment, by, the committee. And we want them to be able to explore Birmingham from their own lens, from their own experience. So in terms of exploring Birmingham, this will be our offer. We're going to be offering our medieval walk because we still think that that's an important walk to focus on. And not only that, because, as I said, lots of families settled in the Handsworth area. We're going to have visitors from Jamaica, all parts of the Caribbean, from Africa and everywhere. And they'll want to go and see the area where, their family settled in when they came to Birmingham. So that's why Medieval Walk is really, really important. We also have another walk, which is the Broad Street Walk. The reason why we put these walks together is because we were aware of the key locations, the key parts, of Birmingham that are going to be used during the Commonwealth and where people will be directed to go. So we have a walk in Broad Street, and I'm not going to give too much away about that, but there's a big link there in terms of the Black Lives Matter. There's a particular statue in 5 Ways that's really, really important in terms of, the emancipation of slavery and all sorts of things in Birmingham. Then we also have the Black Pound Walk. So the Black Pound Walk is a walk that we do on Black Pound Day, which is the first Saturday of every month. So what we want to do is when people come to the city, we want them to visit Black businesses or, areas of interest or, Black enterprises that are taking place, across the city. And that Black Pound Walk will link people to those Black businesses, in key areas of interest across the city, for people who are interested in Black culture.
There's another question coming in. It says, does your program address some of the health inequalities from the Black community? Mental health, alcoholism, and growing rise of inactivity. Apart from the heritage element, do you have a health and fitness focus that is culturally sensitive? And he says, love the idea around Black cultural tourism as well.
Thank you. Yes, I could be here all day, and what I did, I put together a really short presentation, which is taking forever. I don't know why it's taking forever, but and I could have said so much more. And we do have a health and wellbeing program. So with that health and wellbeing program, we do a health walk, which we do in partnership with Birmingham Contemporary Arts Gallery. And that health walk is obviously, is a health walk that goes through Brindley Place and connects up Brindley Place with Hockley. But then we also focus on key issues that actually affect the Black community. So this could be prostate cancer, which 1 in 4 Black men will actually get prostate cancer. We look at diabetes because, a lot of the Black community is susceptible to diabetes. And there's a heavy link between walking and, in terms of improving diabetes. And often what we find with people who have long-term health conditions like diabetes is it's often hard to actually get back on the road to fitness because you're not feeling very well, you're not yourself, you're struggling with health issues. And sometimes walking provides that easy, accessible point to fitness. It doesn't take much to walk, and you can walk at your own pace. You don't have to be physically fit or very athletic to have to do walking. So we always find that is it's an easy entry point to fitness. So we always encourage people to do black walks. But in particular, like I said, as part of our offer for Birmingham 2022, we will be offering a Peribore walking bus tour. So we want to support the city in terms of its strategy for congestion and obviously traffic and cars and stuff like that. So what we want to do is support them by offering a walking bus tour. So when people come to the city and they want to walk to the key locations, the key Commonwealth locations, we can provide that walking bus tour. But it's not just a walking bus. We actually obviously do some heritage and tell them about key areas on that walk which are relevant to Black heritage. So we hope that people who come to the city will take advantage of that walking bus tour by the time 2022 comes. We will continue with our heritage education programs. We've got our MyEnds project, which is the equivalent of a Saturday school, and we will continue with our Eat, Walk and Learn. So we'll be doing that, and I said we'll be doing that in schools, out of school settings, and in local libraries. So people can take part in that and learn about their culture as this rich event is happening across the city, and understand what the Commonwealth really means to them. We'll celebrate Windrush Day as normal, as we do every year. We've got a huge programme put together for Windrush Day in 2022, and consequently also a huge programme for Black History Month as well. So I'm going to stop the presentation there because I can see questions coming through. So hang on, let me just stop the presentation.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question on says, the idea rewalking bus tour is fantastic, and that's a good idea. I would keep it close to your chest so it's not pushed.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So is there any other questions?
I'd just like to find out how, given that COVID has kept everyone in their homes for a long time, and things are slowly getting back to normal, even though there's all these concerns about a second wave. How are you getting people out of home to at least walk a little, or have all the plans for 2020 been abandoned because of COVID?
No, I mean, like I said, luckily we're still flourishing. And, for us, it's never been better, and it's very strange actually, because with the Black Lives Matter agenda, when we saw all these terrible things that happened to George Floyd, and there was all these protests all over the place. Myself and the team were inundated with organisations contacting us, in particular about our heritage education programs and the work that we're doing. The city itself, there's a heritage strategy group within the city, and they were putting together a strategy just before COVID, and they had a draft strategy that was released, and in that strategy they completely admitted any Black heritage in that strategy, and we was part of a meeting to kind of contribute to that that strategy, and it's still being agreed at the moment. But then in terms of getting people to come on the walk, what we did, as I said, we kind of updated our digital strategy, and we put together our TripAdvisor page, our Wikipedia page, Airbnb, all the key areas that we could think of where people might engage. And luckily, people have booked on TripAdvisor. We've got a really good reviews. We've led a walk, and people people want to get out, they want to walk. I think what it is, right, you know, when you've got lockdown, people are looking for things to do. People are looking for normal. They're looking for, some kind of sense in life, you know, but also wanting to get fit. And I think Black Heritage Walks, you know, it fits the current environment. So we've been very, very lucky.
Thank you, Dawn. Thank you. I like the idea of being able to walk and not just take a walk, but learn something as you're going along the way. And especially given the events of the current time, it's very important that we're made aware of our Black heritage, especially for people who have not lived in Birmingham all their lives. There's a big immigrant community growing, and it's important for them to know that they have a history here as well, and they have not come to a foreign land where everything is going to be strange, but there's something for everybody that comes here, especially from Commonwealth countries as well. So it's an amazing idea, and I really look forward to being able to take part in one of these walks soon as well. Yeah.
Well, as I said, we've got our Black Pound Walk, which is next week, next Saturday. So we'll be leading that, and that is a health walk. We'll be running a series of walks for Black History Month. And in particular, we'll be delivering our 4-week project, which is Eat, Walk and Learn, in partnership with Too Much Passion CIC. And I'm aware that Vanessa might be on this course. I don't know whether she wants to come in and talk about that. If you could allow her to talk, I don't know.
Hello, can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Dawn. You've really put me on the spot. I wasn't to the occasion, so I'm glad you just said talk. So yeah, thank you. So yeah, Too Much Passion, CIC in partnership with Black Heritage Walks is going to be an awesome project. What's quite interesting about what we do at Too Much Passion is we take the culture and heritage of the food and use that as a way to engage through cooking classes, creative workshops, teaching people how to cook. It builds self-esteem, it builds a life skill, but we are really keen on using the culture and heritage of African and Caribbean cuisine as a starting point, as all of our chefs are fully qualified and they all have either an Afro-Caribbean background, and that's always their starting point of where we start to talk of our cooking from and what we learn about and what we cook about. So yeah, I'm really excited to be a part of this project. It's been an awesome seminar. Thanks, Dawn. I think I've said enough. I don't think I need to add any more, so yeah.
And I don't know whether you want to talk about our links with Pivot TV for that, which is an important Black platform.
Yes, so we've in very, very good communication and talks with a new Black streaming service called Pivot TV, and part of their original content, they will be filming, and I mean, you know, different camera angles, all of our content for Black History Month, and then they'll be streaming that on their streaming service called Pivot TV. So that will be definitely something to look out for. I don't even want to give too much away, Dawn, because I get very excited and start talking, but the 4 weeks are going to really challenge our thought processes on what we think about food and just what we even know. So many people don't even know the history of our everyday dishes, and yet we're very culturally, you know, yes, this is our food. Okay, so let's hear the history on it, and that's what we're going to be talking about.
Brilliant. And I think what's really good about going digital is we're still in a situation where we've got, COVID restraints. And when we were putting together this program for Black History Month, I wanted to do loads of kids, but obviously because of social distancing, we had to limit it to, just 8 young people being able to take part face to face due to, the restrictions for social distancing and the space that we have and stuff like that. But what's really good is that we can offer, 8 places face to face, but we can offer 20 places online. So those kids who are not able to attend for whatever reasons, or people who have accessibility issues, because we want to be an equal opportunity provider. So, those who would normally have accessibility issues anyway and couldn't attend, can still take part by being, logged in on the learner platform, and they won't miss anything other than, a few activities face to face, but everything is all on the learning platform. So they'll still be able to learn. And hopefully once we do get to the stage where we do virtual reality walks, they can also take part in those as well, and actually walk the walk, in a virtuality kind of situation. So we're really excited about the future, and it's been difficult, but we've gone out of our comfort zone, but we feel quite confident about the road to 2022. So just watch this space. So has anybody got any questions before we finish? I'm aware that we're getting to the end of the seminar. No questions? Okay, then. So just to let you know, as I said, we are doing a website refresh at the moment. So it's not much of a website, but if you do want to find out any information about us, just visit www.blackheritagewalksnetwork.com. So we just got a one-pager up at the moment, but that will be developing as we go along. And if you want to email us, it's blackheritagewalksnetwork@gmail.com. So we've got another question. What's the question, Angela?
Where can I sign up for walks?
Yeah. So currently you can sign up for walks on our website. If you do Google www.blackheritagewalksnetwork.com, that will take you to our page, and we have a bucket bee system where we put our walks up. We also register our walks on the Playways app. So if you have Playways, you can download Playways, and our walks are always registered on there as well. We have a Facebook page, so we always put a Facebook event up when we're doing events, so you can access our walks from there. Just to let you know, most of our walks, unless they're funded, we do charge for our walks, because we are not funded by any organisations. We're just volunteers. We don't get paid to do this particular job. So we have to sustain it somehow. And in particular, like as I say, some of the things we've learned from this COVID thing is that we've had to purchase a lot of additional equipment like headsets and stuff like that in order to have the social distancing, and they're able to listen to be able to still hear the walk leader. So we've had to invest in radio sets and all sorts of different things. So there is a charge for the walks. For the ones for Black History Month, then there's no charge because those are funded. So obviously we need a booking system, to charge for the walks, and you have to pay in advance.
There's also one more question.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's about, you mentioned TripAdvisor and Airbnb. I guess a little emphasis on that.
So yeah, we're actually on TripAdvisor, and you can book us from TripAdvisor as well. So it's possible to book us from there and on Airbnb. So again, we've been focusing on tourism, especially because of 2022. So we recognise that people who are visiting the city may use Airbnb as a mechanism, for accommodation within the city. So we've made sure that we're on the Airbnb platform as one of the, you can look at activities that you can do in the city through Airbnb, and you can book us through there. So we're bookable through there and TripAdvisor as well.
Thank you very much, Dawn. Are there any more questions or suggestions? Anything else to discuss?
Well, I want to thank everybody for taking part today. I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope you know a lot more about Black Heritage Walks Network and get involved with some of the work that we're doing, or just tell people about it.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dawn. It's been a good session, and I'm excited about all the projects that are to come, and I look forward to taking part. And the comment that said, I look forward to the Black Panther walks, so that should be monumental.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for taking part in this webinar. We're really grateful for your participation and all your questions as well. Feel free to share the links when these videos are uploaded so other people can catch up on what Black Heritage Walks Network does. And thank you again, Dawn.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Angela, for chairing this event. I think you did a really good job. And thank everybody for attending.
Thanks, Dawn. Have a good evening. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Bye.